Well, we'll go ahead and get started now, and people will continue to roll in. So thanks again, everyone, for hopping in today and joining us for the latest episode of the Sales Trenches. We've got a representative from Biller Genie, which is a great tool that a lot of you have already taken advantage of to help you win business, and he's going to guide us through, just the latest and greatest with Biller Genie and how you can really use Biller Genie to win more business out in the field. Before we get to Biller Genie, again, my name is Ryan Dosen. I'm Director of Sales here at Host Merchant. I'm joined by Hank. We were doing the name thing. Papali?
You got it. Yes.
There it is. For Biller Genie. Erica is here to join us like usual for helping with the chat. So again, if you guys have any questions while we're meeting or while we're talking today, feel free to type in, and Eric will be able to help answer some of the questions. And then we're going to have time today for some Q&A at the end too. But again, just a little bit about Host before we dive in. You know, a lot of our agents on here already. Here at Host, your success as independent sales agents, that's our number one priority. We're committed to providing exceptional support to both you, the agents, and to your merchants, bringing dedicated guidance, fast responses, real solutions, and get them up and running and processing as fast as possible. You guys and your merchants enjoy 24/7 US-based customer service and support. You also have personal relationship managers that are going to help you. They're going to know your business and help you get your merchants up and running fast. In terms of payment technology, we have a fairly unmatched selection of payment technology available to you. We're going to talk about one of the awesome techs today with Biller Genie. Also, a wide variety of physical devices, also software and gateway solutions, such as our Cloud Manager Suite. And we've got Biller Genie here as well that really helps a great deal with merchants that have a need for really high-level QuickBooks integration. So anyway, let's go ahead and hop in here. We'll reintroduce the series briefly, and then I'll hand it off to Hank. So that you guys are probably getting tired of hearing me talking. So let me see here. We'll share a screen. And here we go. All right. All right. So again, latest episode is the Sales Trenches today, solution-based selling in the real world. And again, we're joined by Hank from Biller Genie. For those of you that are new to the Sales Trenches, I want to say this is episode 9. Our goal here is to help you all with real world examples and real world strategies for how to get out in the field and win business using, certain techs such as Biller Genie. Okay. Not a lot of fluff, not a lot of theory, just field tested, what works, what doesn't work. Okay. And so again, Biller Genie, I've already talked a little bit about it. Biller Genie does a lot of amazing things. And one of the things it's most in demand for is really high level QuickBooks integration with payment processing. So again, Hank Papali, VP of Partner Sales at Biller Genie. I'm going to go ahead and stop share and let you take it from here.
Look at that guy. He's looking good, right? They're a little more dressed up than me this afternoon. No, I appreciate you guys having me on. This is how we, build book a business together. We don't write inside sales. We're not competing against you guys. We're completely partner driven, right? So we're processor agnostic. So being on these type of presentations and getting the opportunity is ultimately how we drive business. So I appreciate it again, you guys having me on. Now, who are we going after? We're going to get right into it. Who are we going after, guys? This immense QuickBooks market. And I know you guys at Host have used solutions throughout the years and have been a pretty big QuickBooks shop. So some of this stuff might look familiar to you guys, but just to throw some stats at you, which to me is just mind-boggling in a lot of ways. There are 32 million SMBs here in the United States. If they select an accounting software, 83% of the time, a merchant will select QuickBooks. I mean, QuickBooks dominates the market share, okay? We are going after, for the purposes of Biller Genie, the 55% of those using QuickBooks and invoicing their customers for payment. And that leaves us with 14.5 million QuickBooks invoicing merchants out there in the United States. And the reason this is so wide open, all right, is because historically, I'm not going to pick on other solutions. So I'm just going to keep this politically correct. There have not been good solutions throughout the years. Okay, there just have not been. So ultimately, what usually would happen, you walk away from the deal, you hear QuickBooks, oh, that never works out. You walk away from the deal. Number two, you sell around it. Hey, Mr. Merchant, let's set you up with a virtual terminal over here. I'll save you a bunch of money. Oh, but it's not going to talk back to your QuickBooks. So probably dual entry manual reconciliation over there. But let's focus on the money I'm saving you over here, right? Or option three, you kind of like roll the dice with one of those other integrations that were out there. And some of them, every once in a while, they could work, in certain scenarios. But I would say the scenario that it does not really work in is if you have a QuickBooks user invoicing a lot, doing a lot of volume, that wants customer driven payments and a lot of the bells and whistles and automation. Like that is usually not a fit. They might try it out. They're willing to save some money, but typically those deals end up falling through. And that's why Biller Genie exists. Our founder was an ISO. He sold payments, specifically in the card not present field. And who do you run into all the time? QuickBooks, invoicing merchants. And he had to use one of the other solutions that were out there, sell around it, or walk away from the deal. He jokes around, it was like the scarlet letter in his office. So that's why Biller Genie exists, to go after, with the best in class QuickBooks integration, these 14.5 million QuickBooks invoicing merchants. And a lot of them are right here. We're going to fly through this, but those home maintenance construction, right? If you're getting a tree removed in your front yard, landscaping, pool companies, your kitchen remodeled, your closets redone, pressure washing, windows, you think of it, a fence built around your house, stuff like that. If that merchant is above the mom and pop stage, they've graduated from using Clover or Square invoicing, they now have accounting software, it's going to be QuickBooks, they're going to be invoicing their customers for payment, and we're a way to get in there for those guys. You might run into some of these big guys over here, manufacturers, logistics, suppliers, all right? Oftentimes, these guys are still using QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise version, all right? No one really has a QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise version these days. Biller Genie has you covered. QuickBooks Online, all versions, QuickBooks Desktop, all versions, and Xero. If you ever run into Xero, Xero, it's a competitor of QuickBooks, we have an integration to that as well. And these big guys over here, typically the largest, highest volume merchants, are going to be using QuickBooks, oftentimes Desktop Enterprise, and to be invoicing their customers. All right? A couple thought bubbles here just to think about. These guys are often invoicing these guys over here. Okay? So it would be great to sign up that roofer, right? It'd be great to sign him up. It'd be great to sign up the manufacturer that's sending those roofer the shingles, right? The manufacturer's invoicing the roofer those shingles. But what the bigger play is if you can get that manufacturer and get his whole network of roofers, right? That's where one deal could potentially equal 15, 20, 30 accounts, right? Same thing in this column here. Yes, law firms, marketing firms, printing and promotional, great fits for Biller Genie. They're using QuickBooks and invoicing. But these CPAs and accountants, why do we really like them? Well, who are they doing the books for? Yeah, we want to sign up their one mid and their one merchant, but really the bigger play, try to get them as a referral partner. They're doing the books for other landscapers, electricians, pool companies, all these other guys, right? That's again where one deal could potentially equal 15, 20, 30 accounts. All right? Again, QuickBooks, invoicing, and the more volume, the merrier. All right? If they're not doing much invoicing, they're probably not a great fit for Biller Genie. But the cool thing is, the ones you guys want to sign earn the most commissions and the most residuals on, the more volume and the more invoicing, these guys tend to be doing clunky stuff. So it's the more clunky repetitions that they're doing that we can iron out with our automation, right? And that's music to your ears, because then you're getting the highest volume, the ones that are going to earn you the most residuals, and those are the best ones that are fit for Biller Genie. So the more volume and the more invoicing, the merrier there. All right? How does it work? We're going to fly through this, and we're going to open it up for questions. How does it work? We're not selling around QuickBooks anymore, guys. We're embracing that. All right? So if you hear, hey, you have QuickBooks, that's awesome. You're invoicing? Great. All right? Mr. Merchant, you're going to create the invoice in QuickBooks, business as usual, like you always have and want to. You want to stay in your QuickBooks. We got you. You create your invoice and hit save. Biller Genie picks up the invoice, stores it in Biller Genie, automatically emails it out to the customer. Customer clicks view and pay, makes that payment. This is what's in it for you. That checkout screen is where we're going to connect your payments. All right. So no more Intuit payments through QuickBooks. You're in right here in the checkout screen. And after that invoice is paid, it will automatically reconcile back to the QuickBooks and mark that invoice as paid. All right. Now, one more illustration with screenshots. Once again, let's let that sink in. Not selling around QuickBooks. You know, if you tell an iPhone user, hey, start using an Android, they're going to flip out. They're going to like, no, I'm not doing that. It's the same thing for QuickBooks users. If they're invoicing out of their QuickBooks, you try to take them out of there and say, hey, no, create the invoice over there and do. They're going to be like, no, I'm not doing that. We're embracing that. Hey, Mr. Merchant, you create the invoice business as usual. This is a view of QuickBooks Online. You create the invoice and hit save. Create the invoice and hit save. Biller Genie picks up the invoice, emails it out automatically with a nice branded, good-looking invoice. The customer will click view and pay from their checkout screen. By the way, you see dual pricing is enabled. All right. The customer clicks view and pay from their email, and it takes them to a checkout screen. Again, they can pay by card, pay by ACH. You can write the credit card, and if you want to, you can write the ACH as well. A lot of you guys don't write ACH, no problem. Biller Genie can write it internally, but you have the option to set both of these up. All right? And then after the invoice is paid, it automatically reconciles back to their QuickBooks and marks that invoice as paid. All right? I want to open it up for questions. All of this is included in our $24.95 plug-in plan. And the big one here on this slide is the ability to offset payments acceptance. Guys, QuickBooks does not have dual pricing. Okay? When you see this screen right here, the ability to pay by card with an additional 3 or 4%, whatever this was set up with, or the ability to pay by ACH with no additional fees, in an automated compliant dual pricing, everywhere the customer looks, if they're set up for dual pricing, they click on this invoice and there's 15 line items. Every line item of that invoice would have a card and ACH price. This is by the letter of the law compliant dual pricing, all right? And we also have compliant surcharging. QuickBooks does not have that. And if there's one thing I want to drill home, well, you know, QuickBooks right now, if you're a QuickBooks merchant, you're doing this. Hey, Mr. Customer, do you want to pay by credit card? Oh, you do? Okay, I'm going to go back into your invoice and I'm going to add a line item for 4%. I'm going to resend that out to you. All right? Number one, you guys know this. You can't pick and choose who you're charging fee. That's not compliant. You can't just do that. All right? And number two, if you did do that, how are you going to do that to scale? How you can do that 50, 100, 200 invoices a month? That is a time-consuming, manual process. With Biller Genie, it's a toggle of a button. We set it up, boom. Ball's in the customer's court. They want to pay by credit card? Great. We're not going to be paying for their sky miles, the merchant, right? If not, no problem. You can pay by ACH, no additional fees. And if for whatever reason the merchant doesn't want to get set up with ACH, we still have you covered in compliancy because it'll change to check, cash, or other. All right? Well, we could change the verbiage on that. So I want to stop there. That's all included, guys, that in our $24.95 plug-in plan. Everything I went over there. Everything I went over is our $24.95 subscription fee that Biller Genie bills.
Awesome
Fired
stuff.
a lot. Questions?
Sounds good. I've had some questions come
Cool.
in. So you were very professional to not. You said in the beginning you didn't want to take shots at competition or something like
Right.
that. So I'll tee you up and just say, so like for instance against like a Veroza
Yeah.
versus Biller Genie.
Yeah.
If how does why is Biller Genie a better fit for merchants as opposed to something like a Veroza?
Yeah, I think a Barossa is like when you talk like a virtual terminal built into the QuickBooks, right? And you want to open something up and make a payment, like you could still get away with doing that. They've been doing that for years and years. I think when you want customer driven payments in automation, and we got a lot of their bells and whistles, right? But like that checkout screen that I showed you where the ball's in the customer's court, the merchant can set it and forget it. Like if you have them on a schedule, I'm sending out that invoice the 15th of every month. All right. Yeah, you can take payments over the phone with Biller Genie, but the goal is to have automated accounts receivable. And when you get into that world, that's where, the Verosas or the Instant Accepts or the, NMI Sync Pay is a good example. Literally, NMI has their own QuickBooks sync back solution. And they're completely working with us now. That's gone end of life. And they're trying to push their NMI partners to be like, hey, that sync pay thing, get all of those over to Biller Genie. We can't force you. We'll still service it, but we haven't updated that thing in 2 years, and there's a lot of bug issues and that kind of stuff. But when you want a high level accounts receivable automation, I think that's a real separator with Biller Genie. I really do. And by the way, reviews, guys, if you just Google Biller Genie right now, I think we have like 530, and they're all real merchants talking about how fabulous the software is, the support is, and what it's done for their business. Those are real reviews. They are not bots. I think the aggregate is 4.8 stars, like out of 5.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but someone was asking if you're able to do it. Are you able to go in and show this happen in real time? Like, are you able to run like a live demo of what a payment would look like with Biller Genie?
Demos, guys. Oh, like right now?
Yeah. Are you able to do that now, or is
I I can run it through. Let me. I got to go in my demo account, but I would say this
okay?
for that. Speaking of demos, let's just talk about demos. Every day of the week, we do a merchant demo webinar, 5 days a week. So even if you don't have a merchant, hop on one of those. That's where we're going to get into the features and functionality and show the dual pricing and a lot of this stuff. Like rather than just four slides, I wanted to show you guys a high level overview of how Biller Genie works in some of the quick high level overview features. But every day of the week we do a merchant demo webinar. All right, and I'll make sure I resend that to you, Ryan. Also,
Yes.
we do one-on-one demos. We want to help you guys and they're free. We want to help you guys either on the merchant demo webinar or one-on-one demos. You can book them right in our partner portal. We have a partner portal. A calendar pops up. Boom. Let us help you close the deal. You have QuickBooks, card not present invoicing. They're doing some pretty good amount of volume. They're doing a good amount of invoicing. We got a 2-minute video you can show them. If you can close it, great. If not, get them to a demo. My guys they're fantastic. They do an excellent job of presenting the product.
Awesome. Yeah, and again, for you guys, our agents that are listening right now, if you wanted to get one of these demos scheduled for your merchant, you contact your relationship manager here at Host, and then we help facilitate with Biller Genie, and we can get that set up for you.
Yeah.
Again, if you're able to put that together in the background right now while we're doing a couple of things, great. If not, we can direct people to another video.
Okay.
And so just to circle back on something that I think is really important. So I wanted to kind of ask a little bit about, like what are the key things that people, the few questions that our agents want to be asking that's going to hopefully lead to a situation where they can pitch Biller Genie. So if you've got a merchant that's doing invoicing through QuickBooks, but they're not able to do the dual pricing or the compliance surcharging, so basically they're paying their own credit card processing fees.
Yeah.
Our agents now have a solution that they may not have even known about, where they can be like, hey, are you tired of paying your own credit card processing fees? Right. You can, we have a solution that you can bring in for $25 a month where you don't have to pay for it anymore, and your clients can.
This is Biller Genie's claim to fame. We have one more minute. I didn't go over this slide. Like, what's really in it for the merchant? Guys, the national average to pay an invoice in the United States is 47 days. Depending on what publication you look at, DSO, daily sales outstanding, is between 43 and 49 days. We got this from B2B payments like last year or the year before. The average Biller Genie account across our entire portfolio, when we average it together, is 8 days daily sales outstanding. 8 days, okay? And you ask why. Like, is there a special sauce here? There is, but you know what? Merchants, if you just ask this question, how do you collect money? What's your process? They're going to tell you a lot of this stuff, guys. I'm still mailing out invoices, stuffing envelopes. I'm sending out electronic payments or electronic invoices and turning off the payment module. Well, what good does that do? I'm sending out an electronic invoice and I literally have to call up the merchant to make a payment. I'm sending out an invoice and request for the complete credit card information with the date and the CVV number, and you mail that back to me through the mail. If you just ask merchants how you collect money, you will run into so many layups out there. Get them to a demo. All right, get them to a demo and we'll help you close the deal. Dual entry reconciliation. I've touched on that quite a bit, right? A lot of good salespeople have sold like that for years. Hey, I'll save you a bunch of money. QuickBooks Desktop's 3.5%. Oh my goodness. I'll charge you 3%. On $100,000, you can save them $5,000 a month. That is now vulnerable. All right. If you have that in your book right now and you sold like that, good job. But the clock is ticking before somebody runs in there with like a Biller Genie. We have over 1,000 partners. Get them signed up for Biller Genie. Protect your territory. Conversely, if you see that out there, you could just be like, oh, yeah, I'll match Ryan's pricing. What do you have yet? Oh, 3%? That's great. And now I'm going to connect all the dots for you in your invoice. And you're not going to have to do that extra hour or two a night in dual entry manual reconciliation just to save money on your credit card or your standalone ACH that's going to your bank. So guys, if you just ask merchants, how are you doing things? This stuff is going to come up a lot. And what it equates to is really clunky AR processes. And ultimately, this is what's in it for the merchant. We're going to save them time, money, get them paid faster, and improve their customers' experience. And you guys are going to come in with the cherry on top and hook them up with a better merchant service program, ACH program, dual pricing, what have you. All right. The issue has never been throughout the years, can we save money against QuickBooks? That's never been they know they're paying an arm and a leg for credit card and ACH. The issue has been, are you going to mess with my accounts receivable process? Are you going to take me out of QuickBooks and make me do something over here? Because when that's in play, oftentimes, again, with those higher volume merchants, they're like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not leaving my QuickBooks. And if they want to, we can leave them automated as much as they want to take advantage of within their QuickBooks, within their accounting software.
What if somebody says, well, I'm in QuickBooks, I'm sending invoices out. I don't really mind a little bit of double work in terms of manual entry for reconciliation. What else? How else are we making their lives easier with Biller Genie?
Well, they could still do it through Biller Genie, right? If you wanted to take payments over the phone, you click on the invoice in Biller Genie, you make the payment, it syncs back to QuickBooks, marks the invoice as paid. So you might as well you can do some of that, turn off some of the automation if you would like, no big deal. But do it through us and don't pay the 3 or 3.5% through QuickBooks, or still let us offset your credit card fees with dual pricing by doing that. You know what I mean? So if they want to turn off the automation, that's fine. But the point is, and you guys could probably relate to this, it is very rare you get a QuickBooks Online merchant, everything is set up with autopay, and it's just kind of humming. That is not usually the normal case we're running into in the field. It's like, they're with QuickBooks Online and that's about it. And they're invoicing and doing all this kind of wacky stuff. And look, we can only take them as far as they want to go as well. We know where it's like, all right, well, you guys want to turn off the invoice messenger? That's okay. You can manually send out the invoice if that's what you want to do. We ran into that earlier today on a demo. So you can take them as far as they want to go in terms of the automation with it.
All right. Sounds good. Let me see if we have any other questions in here. What's a common situation where an agent might miss an opportunity that Biller Genie could solve that we haven't maybe covered over?
That's a good one. I want to, when you run into a Service Titan, a House Call Pro, a Jobber, those type of third-party softwares, if you just Google, can you sync your invoice from Service Titan to QuickBooks? The answer is yes. All you need to do is, those three major players, I know for a fact, can sync their invoice to QuickBooks. And I think often we feel like when we hear those third-party softwares, usually they're great for their CRMs and they're like their beacon technology for their technicians in the field. It's usually really good. But what it stinks at, accounts receivable, billing, and collecting money. So they're getting charged an arm and a leg with the payment processing. So when you hear those, they can sync their invoice to QuickBooks. where Biller Genie can pick it up, grab it, and send it out and do our normal process. And they can make a payment and it syncs back to QuickBooks. A couple that's usually hit or miss though, guys. A little bit is out of our control. That sync from QuickBooks to, or excuse me, that sync from Service Titan to QuickBooks, we have nothing to do with. What if their integration isn't good, right? They don't have it set up properly. But the other thing is, if it gets over there, sometimes they want to change the invoice. They want to have it sit there for a few days, stuff like that. Well, now we're turning off automation to automatically pick it up, grab it, and send it out. But rule of thumb with Biller Genie, we need an invoice manually created in QuickBooks or third-party software pushing their invoice to QuickBooks so we can pick it up, grab it, and send it out. So it's about 50-50 hit or miss depending on how the merchant operates. And usually we don't know until they're on board and the bullets are flying. But just by the letter of the law, if we can sync an invoice to QuickBooks, we can pick it up from QuickBooks, grab it, and send it out. So evaluate those Service Titan, House Call Pro, Jobbers, Fishbowl, or common ones we hear, and see if there's an opportunity where they usually want to save money. They're paying even higher rates than even on QuickBooks. So that's one opportunity I want you guys to evaluate when you see those. Get them to a demo.
So the people out there, the merchants that you find that are using QuickBooks, this is definitely a way to get in, and we can take the credit card processing. We can still have full syncing and reconciliation with Biller Genie. So again, yes, okay, they're going to have to pay $25 a month for Biller Genie, but we're going to keep their lives still relatively simple. We're going to save them on credit card processing, and everybody's happy there.
They should be operating in their QuickBooks 90% of the time and only in the Biller Genie dashboard maybe 10% of the time. They won't even know what gateway they use. Mm-hmm. All right. There's no logging into gateways and checking out what's going on. Like, that should not happen. And that happens often with a lot of other solutions. Not only do I have, just using like Verosa as an example, I don't know this, but like using like QuickBooks and Verosa, I'm also checking sometimes in the gateway for all kinds of stuff. For all intents and purposes, they won't even know what gateway you guys even set them up with. And that's how it should be. QuickBooks, 90% of the time, if they're taking advantage of the automation, they'll pop in Biller Genie every once in a while to toggle a customer on with auto pay. And something like that, They might want to check out some of our reports. We got a ton of reports in Biller Genie. They can export files and stuff like that as well if they want to. Yeah.
Great.
I encourage you guys to hop on one of the daily merchant demo webinars to take a deeper dive into features and functionality and utilize our team to help you close deals when they come across your desk. You got those QuickBooks invoicing merchants, card not present. We're here for you.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for that, Hank. I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up here. So let me, all right.
Thank you guys. I appreciate the time today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for hopping on, Hank. This is really helpful stuff. So next week we will be back with another episode of Sales Trenches. Keep a lookout in your email for the topic. Again, some possible future topics. We had written some in here. If you guys have any special requests, please go ahead and let me know. You can email me directly. But again, let us know how we can help you out there in the field, and we'll get it done. Also, the Cloud Manager, I know I talk about this a lot. The Cloud Manager suite is in absolute overdrive right now in terms of development. We've really started harnessing, some very powerful AI technology to help get this software even better and ramped up at light speed, right? So if it's been a little while since you guys have checked out Cloud Manager, we'll probably be doing an update webinar here pretty soon. But again, a lot of you are bringing in demos. The promotion where your merchants are not going to have to pay for life for Cloud Manager is still going. Okay. So again, tremendous value add on the front end. You're able to walk in the door, saving them hundreds of dollars a month on their software as well as on their payment processing. And the software is a lot better than maybe some of you saw, 12 months ago. We got a lot of people joining now. So thanks so much for hopping on today. Appreciate your time. Thanks to Eric for helping out in the chat. And we'll see you guys next Thursday at normal time. This week we actually had to move to 2:00 because Hank had his weekly at 1. But we should be back at 1:00 again next week. Talk to you soon. Bye.